Hello, hello, and welcome back to my channel. It is your Queen Tasha Dene. If you are new, welcome to my channel. Today I will be making me, you, us the best pot roast in my cast iron skillet. Okay? I'm going to jump right into this video and get started. I already have my cast iron skillet preheating. I'm going to go right on ahead and season my meat. Yes, this is going to be a really nice, hearty, tasty pot roast. And I'm going to start with my pepper. I'm going to start with my black pepper. Always start with your pepper first, because then you can see what you're adding. Like I say in all my videos, you can add, but you cannot take away. So it's okay to add just a little bit and then add more later. Then I'm going to add my garlic powder. Getting that on both sides and in between. Now I'm going to add my seasoning salt. Y'all know I don't do too much salt, and everything comes with salt. I don't think you can even, even stuff that say salt-free sometimes got salt in it, okay? Then I'm going to add my meat tenderizer just to give it a little bit of extraness to tenderize on down. So I'm going to add a little tenderizer on there. I'm going to add my Mrs. Dash. Oh, I just added the tenderizer. Now I'm going to add my Mrs. Dash original seasoning. And I'm just going to get that everywhere. Get that all over and in the meat. And all in between. Even on the sides, make sure you get the sides of your roast. Wow, that smells good already. Then you want to get that all in your roast as your pan is heating. So that way now that some of your seasoning can adhere to your meat and not just in the skillet. But we're going to also use the seasoning from the pan as well. So the skillet is already ready. So we're going to start by, we're going to now put our roast in the pan. And this is what you're listening for. This is what you want to hear when you are doing your roast in the pan. This is what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear. And I'm going to let that cook to the next step, which is our vegetables and potatoes that we're going to be adding in. You want to hear that sear, because that is now all your seasonings and everything kind of now marrying into the meat and in the cast iron skillet. Let's do our vegetables. Okay, now that your roast has seared on one side, you're now going to flip it over and let it get a sear on the other side. So you see what that cast iron skillet did? It got that brownness, just a little bit of a nice crust on it, just to seal all them seasonings in. So we're going to let this sear on this side for the same amount of time. Okay, as our roast is searing, we're now going to cut our onion up for the roast. And I like to cut my onions up at the end of the tips first, because it makes it more easier for me to take the skin off. See? And then I have that piece, and I can just now just cleanly take that off. And then cut my onion. now rinse my carrots. Okay, I'm now going to mix my carrots in the bowl and add my potatoes. Okay, I'm now going to cut my potatoes. So I got my potatoes cut. One thing about your potatoes, you want to cut them as even as possible to the same size, so that way, again, they cook evenly. So I have all my potatoes and my carrots and onions all in a bowl. I'm going to give them a rinse, a second rinse, and drain them and add them into my roast. Okay, the roast is cooking beautifully. Now I'm going to add my beef broth. And I'm going to let that and all the juices in here kind of marinate with each other. And I'm just going to add this whole thing in here. So that's going to be my liquid. Then after adding that, I'm going to let that come to a boil. I'm now going to add my better than bouillon roasted beef base. And let that just cook down in the roast. Oh. And always try to use a plastic spatula when. Okay, I am back. As you can see, the roast has cooked down a bit. So now I'm going to mix in my vegetables and onions. I did put some seasonings on them to add a little more seasonings to that. Just going to give that a mix around just to get around everything. And then I'm just going to add this over into my roast. Oh, that smells so good. And I'm going to let this cook down. Okay. I'm going to let this cook down for about another hour or so, and then we'll be back. We'll have a good roast ready to eat. Okay, and welcome back. We are all done. Now here is my pot roast and my potatoes, my carrots. I did make a pot of cornbread. Yummy. Let's see how tender it is. Nice and tender. All that is done.